boxing changed the perspective of my life. You know, guys, I was told that I had 6 months to live. I'm sick, but who do I fight with over this? It's not an opponent that I can see.
Peace be upon you, and welcome to another Safi Bros podcast. Alhamdulillah, today we have an extraordinary guest. A brother who's been on a journey that's incomparable that we know, subhanAllah. MashaAllah, a brother who's had 2 amazing championships. 2 times world champion,
Inshallah.
but also a world champion in fighting cancer. SubhanAllah. This brother has fought adversity. He's gone through the top and the bottom. Australia, America, around the world, seen the successes and the hardships. SubhanAllah, in his lifestyle. None other than our brother, a champ, Billyve. Welcome to the Safi Bros podcast.
Thank you, my brothers. It's an honor to be here. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. Thank you guys so much for having me, and I'm honored. I'm honored to be here.
Allah barik, bro. MashaAllah, bro.
One thing I want people to know about Billyve is we've only known each other for a short time, but he's actually given us the love and compassion as a sibling brother. We've known each other for over 30 years, subhanAllah.
We are brothers.
Alhamdulillah, we are brothers.
We are brothers because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we're connected as brothers in Islam.
Yeah,
so,
Ameen.
you know, that's the way I deal with people. You know what I mean? Obviously, Ahmed, starting with Ahmed, showed me so much love, reached out to me with a lot of respect. And when people show respect, they demand respect back. And alhamdulillah, I was able to give that respect back, and to be here today is an absolute honor. I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to this beautiful podcast, inshallah, that can benefit a lot of brothers, bismillah, and sisters.
Alhamdulillah. We're privileged today to be at your book launch, mashallah. And mashallah, he introduced me as his brother. Hello to the people there. So.
Well, I didn't say anything that wasn't true. Because all I had to add was my brother in Islam. But I just left the Islam part out, but I should have said it anyway.
Allah barik. Thank you, Habibi. Allah bless you and all the hard work, mashallah, you've done. And your family. We are pleased and honored to have you here to share what we call your success story.
Inshallah.
And as we know, success, subhanAllah, is so unique to so many different people. We see success in different light. And would love for you to highlight the startup. The startup of Billyve. A young chap who was 5, the fondest memories of your life.
How many siblings? Where were you living in Sydney?
When I was 5 years of age, subhanAllah, I had my brother Jihad, my brother Imad, Muhammad, my older brother Nasir, and my younger sister Sabrine. So when I was 5, my sister Sabrina was 2. A little bit after that, my brother Yusuf would enter the world as well. But alhamdulillah, I remember my childhood. I had fond memories of my childhood. My brothers and I, we were good friends. We hung out. We played together. We ran amok. We just we had.
Take us to that fondest memory. Take us to that fondest memory as a kid.
Middle child?
Yeah, you could say that. So there was 4 boys than me.
MashaAllah. So you had brothers to look up to.
Yeah, so my brother, man, growing up, I looked up to my brothers a lot. They were my heroes. My brother Jihad was more like a father figure because he was a lot older.
Wow.
And I remember sometimes he used to pin me down, man. He used to smack me. He would smack me without, my parents wouldn't smack me, but he would smack me. But he would give me like proper smacks because I was a naughty kid, I had a lot of energy but
no one in the family was a fighter then?
No.
My
brothers were talented rugby league players. My brother Jihad was talented rugby league player. Imad and Muhammad were very good rugby league players. But my brother Nasser, he was more of a computer geek.
Wow.
He loved the PlayStation stuff. And back in them days, it was like Nintendo and Atari and all that.
I remember that.
They were at them days, yeah. But then then PlayStation came out and then all these other things, and he was always into that.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, I wasn't, to be honest with you. I wasn't into that. I was really into the sport. I was an active kid. I wanted to build things, break things, jump off things, anything to hurt myself,
Which primary school did you go to?
Growing up, I went to England Public School.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was in the Sutherland Shire, which was in an area called Engadine. It was a predominantly Anglo school.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember there was maybe one kid in the whole school who was, who had a dark complexion. His name was Dylan Reddy.
Wow.
Yeah, so we stood out like sore thumbs.
So you didn't have any other kids around you? Like you didn't grow up in the Lebo areas or
No.
areas, yeah?
Where we grew up, it was like predominantly white Anglo. There was another Muslim family in the area. They were from Bet Najid, and they became really close friends of ours. But the father, he changed their last name to Stewart to help him fit in.
No way.
Yeah, so I was like, his kids' names were Michael, Andy, Alan, Jason, Christina.
Wow.
And then you had, in my family, Jihad, Ahmed, Ahmad, Nasir, Bilal, Sabreen, Yusuf, you know what I mean? We had like proper Muslim names, you know what I mean?
Subhanallah.
And we didn't fit in too well.
How was that? How was that experience?
It was tough, man. I won't lie, you know what I mean? Going through school was definitely a tough experience. And again, you know, I never maybe voiced it enough, but you know, there was days that I woke up and I was petrified to go to school. There was days that I thought, man, what am I going to be in for today?
Can you give us like one of those horrific stories, bro? Take us to one of those.
You know, growing up, I remember, you know, people would throw eggs at our house. People would paint things on our fence.
Wow.
Like even like people would use a spray can to write on the fence, "Go home, you dirty wogs."
Wow.
And the craziest thing is that the bus stop was like right outside our house, and they would spray paint it there. And so people who were going to school would see that on our fence, and then that was like a target point for us. You know what I mean? Like we were going to get picked on that day. And
Wow.
my older brother, I remember my brother Muhammad, he used to fight back, man. My brother Mo used to do some damage. He used to kick people in the head. Like real, like proper. I don't know what it was. He had this like full fly kick that he used to do and kick people. but you know, we were young.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's not like my brother Muhammad was going to come and beat up a kindergarten kid or a year one or year two, or you know, so like going through school, you know, we experienced that racism, but eventually, you know, with my dad's wisdom, my dad's a very, very wise man. I got to give him that, man. The man is wise. And I remember the exact words that he used to tell me is, you got to kill him with kindness.
Allahu Akbar.
Don't fight back. Kill him with kindness. You know, he told me to. He says, "Listen, Dad, you're going to kill him with kindness. You got to kill him."
That's advice.
And when eventually things were getting out of hand, my dad said, "You know what? I got a really good idea. I'm going to enter you guys in some after-school sports. Maybe then you can make friends with the kids outside of school, and that might help."
Build the bridges, yeah.
Build the
Right?
bridges. Nice.
So when I started playing outside of school sports and with the kids at school, and I'd score a try on the weekend or whatever, that would help break some of that, you know.
Relationship.
It helped like ease things. It eased a few things at school.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Billy Dib scored a try on the weekend. What a champ, man. You won us the game. What a legend.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Well, through the adversities of school would eventually lead me to my destiny.
Subhanallah.
And you have to go through certain things to get to a certain destination.
Yeah, 100%.
Allah will put you through things to... Sometimes you go through certain things, you say, Ya Rab, why would you... Like, why? Like, but Allah has a plan for everything. There's a decree for everything. 100%. And the truth is that if I didn't get bullied at school, maybe my dad would never have took me to the football field. If I didn't get bullied at school, maybe I wouldn't have been at the football field when the trainer threw the pads and the gloves out on the floor and said, today we're going to do some boxercise.
Wow.
And as a young boy growing up with, you know, 4 other siblings who were boys and then a younger sister, you could imagine the Rocky franchise was a big thing in our household. I'm not joking. It was a big thing.
How old were you then? So take us back to that age.
12.
So
No, it was earlier than that. I was like, man, boxing was a big thing in our home from the age of like 7, 8, 9, 10. Rocky was the only movie that played in our household.
Wow.
It was I can tell you right now, the only movies that I remember from my childhood were Jackie Chan movies.
Yep.
Bruce Lee movies,
Oh, Bruce
Van
Lee.
Damme movies,
Van Damme, yeah.
Sylvester Stallone movies,
Yep.
and RoboCop. That's the truth. I'm not joking. Serious. That was really what it was. And so,
Subhanallah.
you know, when the trainer threw them pads and the gloves on the floor, that was like, I've been here before, because my dad had a convenience store, and what he used to do, he sold the Rocky gloves in the convenience store.
Yeah,
And me and my brothers, no joke, used to beat the living daylights out of each other with these gloves on. You know, someone would end up with a blood nose, somebody with a busted lip, this guy lost a tooth, this guy got winded and vomited on the floor, and every time something like that would happen, my mum would come in and dust us all up.
with the sarmiyah.
She shouted to the real Jackie Chan was, you know. And so,
Allah.
you know, when that happened, and then the trainer was like, he asked me a question. He said, Billy, have you ever boxed before? And I said, no, but I've watched a lot of Rocky movies. And I thought boxing was based on Rocky. I didn't know that there was real boxing. I'd heard of like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, but I thought, in my mind, I'm thinking as a kid, man, Rocky's a real fighter. This guy's a legend.
Wow. You thought he was the Muhammad Ali.
I thought this guy's heavyweight champion of the world. This is the truth.
Subhanallah.
Then
When we're kids, what we see in the movies,
You believe it.
It affects us.
And
subhanallah.
you know, I'll tell you something right now. When I was a kid, I loved Sylvester Stallone so much, and I used to hear this thing about Muslims, and then I just said to my mum, do you think that Sylvester Stallone will ever become a Muslim? Because I want him to go to Jannah, mum. Because I loved him so much, right?
What a great dua.
Yeah.
Hey, Sylvester, are you hearing this?
Yeah. So, you know, I remember the first time I ever walked into the boxing gym, and my brother Ahmad had these like chatty gloves. They were like Ring Pro gloves. They were terrible, right? And I walked up to the gym, and my dad, he gave me $1 coin, because back in the days to go to train at the PCYC was $1.
Oh, wow.
And I told my dad, I said, Dad, I can't hold it, but can you put the $1 coin in between the thumb and the glove? Because, you know, the glove holds like that.
Yeah.
So he put the $1 coin there for me, and I said, Dad, I'll see you later. So I went upstairs, and I knocked on the door with my elbow,
Wow.
and a guy by the name of Rusty Penton opened the door.
Wow.
And
I said,
Hello, you remember the name?
yeah, I know him. I remember him very well. And this guy played a significant role in my life till today. Because I don't forget people. If you've done for me something, I'll never forget you.
Allah.
I will always hold you in high esteem for what you've done for me.
Unwavering.
I knock on the door and he answers, and he says, can I help you, mate? And I said, Mr. Carpenter sent me here, and he told me that you could help me. And he said that I could be champion of the world one day. And he goes, why have you got your gloves on? And I said, because I'm here to fight. And he goes, what about learning how to skip and shadow box and do all the other stuff? And I was like, no, I just want to fight. When the door actually opened up, I seen two people that were fighting each other, sparring each other. And I was like, whoa, where's the teacher stopping the fight? And I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. Right then and there. It's like, vision was clear. 12. Vision was completely clear.
Open the door.
Like when I say complete obsession right from that moment, I'm talking obsession. I'm talking my dad was now had me, he controlled me like a yo-yo, my dad at that point, because he found my weakness. And my weakness was that I loved boxing so much. So my dad was like, here's the thing, right? If you don't do well at school, you can't go to boxing.
Wow.
Here's the thing, right? If you don't get me good results, you can't go to boxing. Here's the thing, right? If you're not sitting at the front of the class, you're not going to boxing. So all of a sudden, I went from getting 50% to 70%. I went from sitting in the back of the class, being the class clown, to actually sitting in the front, becoming a bit of a nerd and listening.
Just a bit.
And then I became one of those people who went to school, applied myself, and left.
Wow.
Without any trouble.
Wow.
Matter of fact, we had a report card at school, and this report card was only for kids who were delinquents and troublemakers. I
Behavior sheets, they call them.
well,
Yeah, they call them behavior sheets.
listen,
I was on one.
I like to call it a sheet for a delinquent, because I was a bit of a delinquent. And so I asked the principal, I said, listen, how could you put me on one of these? And he goes, but you're not in any trouble. I said, but I want to be on one of these because I want to show my dad that I'm being extremely good. So what I would say was you can't go to boxing.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, boxing changed the perspective of my life.
Wow.
It saved me from, ever getting into trouble. It steered me away from fights. But the one thing that it did was to stop the bullies.
Yeah, 100%.
Because truth be told, and like I'm not proud of this, but there was a few occasions where things happened and I was like, listen, here's what we're going to do. You and me, we're going to go around the corner behind the building of the school and we're going to deal with it like men. Whoever walks out, walks out. Let's go. Well, come on, let's go. You walk. And I said, all right, beautiful. That's what I want. Let's go. One punch and it was all over. Wow. I used to hit him straight in the stomach, in the guts, just wind them and walk out. And I'd walk out and it goes, well, you're so slack. I'm like, I'm slack. If I was on the end of the stick, I would, sucked in, you dumb wog. That's what it would have been, honestly.
SubhanAllah.
Another time, there was this guy on a bus. I'm not going to mention his name, even though I know it clearly, right?
We remember him, don't we?
I was on the bus, and he knew the route that the bus was going to go on, and it was a school sports day, and he knew that the route of the bus, and there was this girl in our school. She was butt ugly, man. Right? God bless her soul. And he wrote on the floor, Billyve loves that girl.
Oh, no.
And I know her name, and I'm not going to say because I don't want to embarrass anybody. And I was like so embarrassed. And he started laughing and running amok and trying to make me look silly in front of everyone. So I got up and I said, listen, man, I said, that was a mistake. And I just hit him straight in the stomach and he was out. And the teacher came and I'm like, miss, listen, called me a wog. He called me a wog. I said,
It's not.
and somebody did, but that's what I said. He called me a wog. Says, I'm going to contact. I said, you contact the principal, no problem. I'm happy to go see him. As soon as I got there, I said to the principal, I said, listen, I was very witty as a kid, man. Quick mouth. Like I would, had it right on the cusp of my tongue. I was like, bang. So he said, listen, we're going to have to suspend you. I said, listen, sir, that's up to you. I said, but just so you know, my brother Jihad works in the education department. I know what my rights are, and I said, and I'm gonna let the school know, and I'm gonna put it out there that your school is racist, and I'm facing racism. No. I said, no. I am. And so he said, all right, well, look, I'm not gonna suspend you.
So you're negotiating?
Because if he suspends me, there's no boxing, right? So he said, I'm gonna have to put you on detention, like so you're gonna have to do your suspension in school. I won't say anything to your father, but anyway. So we get through it. And then the parents of that kid turn up at my house.
Oh, no.
And now they want to press charges.
Are you serious?
No joke. And then the mother and the father said, if you don't befriend our son, we're going to press charges on you.
Oh, my gosh.
And we want you to teach him how to box. And we want you to look at... So I said, I'm all for it. I am all for it. Man.
A bully to a friend.
Listen, I said, I'm all for it. I took him to the gym. I taught him how to box and everything like that. And it was an opportunity for me to like be able to lay hands on him as well because, you know what I mean? I'm teaching you, man. You got to take some punishment too, right? Anyway, but subhanAllah, you know what? I was able to turn my foes into fans. You know, those who knocked me, those who put me down, they became fans. And that was a beautiful thing, you know. And I will tell you guys this story. Because
so how old were you then? So that
was like, that was me coming out of school, like, 16, around that time, you know. I mean, 17 was not.
Very impressionable age, yeah.
And, there was this one kid that used to make my life a misery at school. Like, man, he found anything and everything to pick on me. And he got away with it because his mum was a school teacher at our school. So it was like, he was always in the right, I was in the wrong, you know.
You had that privilege.
You couldn't beat that one.
I couldn't beat that one. You know, years and years and years passed. And in 2018, he rang me. And I was shocked to even hear from him. He was like, mate, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good, brother. I said, you okay? And he goes, mate, I really need to come see you. And I said, why? And he goes, look, it's something going on in my life and I'd love to have a chat with you. And I said, oh, no problem. I said, he goes, I'm happy to come to you. And at the time I was living in Concord and there was a pizza shop downstairs. I said, look, there's a pizza shop. I said, let's meet up there. So he comes to meet up with me. And he said, I really need to apologize to you for what I put you through in your life at school. And I said, mate, that's in the past.
Wow.
Don't worry about it. And he goes, no, I got to worry about it. And I said, why is that? And he goes, because karma's biting me back in the bum, mate. And I said, why? And he goes, I'm getting picked on at work. Big time, mate. And the only thing I can think of is what I put you through at school. Yeah, so I really want to apologize to you. And you know what?
Amazing story.
Allah.
You know what? He ended up coming to my next like 5 or 6 fights. No joke. Wallah, we became really good friends, and you know what I mean. And then when
From
I
enemy to your ringside.
Both the fan, I love it. From both the fan.
I'm telling you, man. So like, you know, you can turn people around, and you know the thing is, the one thing about me that I always tell people is that, you know, when you're growing up in an area like where I grew up in, and people fear what's different, we all fear what's different. I'll give you an example. When I was a young kid, I remember that I had a fear of disabled children.
Wow.
A serious fear of kids with disabilities. Because I used to think that if I play with kids with disabilities, I'm going to end up like that.
Wow.
But that was an ignorant thing for me to think. But I was young. I didn't know. And I had a cousin two cousins who were disabled. And even though I interacted with them, I still tried to maintain a little bit of a distance. Because I thought that was going to rub off onto me, and I was going to, it was just a weird thing that I had. But when kids see somebody who is dark with black hair and brown eyes, and he has a little bit of a different lingo to them, of course, they fear the difference. And no kid is born a bully, in my opinion. No kid is born a bully, you know, but I think that's something that grows on you from home.
Yeah.
You know, you see your dad maybe bullying your mum.
Yeah.
You see your dad maybe speaking derogatory towards your mum, or your mum speaking derogatory towards your dad.
100%.
And you bring that to school. Yeah. And so now as an older person, I've worked out a really, really interesting thing to do when I visit schools now. And this is what I do. I ask the teachers first before I speak. I say, do you mind me asking if anybody gets bullied at this school? Oh, mate, we've got a lot of bullies. And I said, oh, wow, that's bad. I said, can I ask the question if anyone gets bullied in class? You do whatever you want. So the first thing I say to the kids, I said, does anybody in this class get bullied? And I said, don't be shy. I got bullied. I'm going to put my hand up. My hand's right up. I got bullied big time. I got kicked, spat on, punched. You name it, it happened to me.
Wow.
I got bullied. So if you got bullied, join me for a second. I got bullied. You know what I mean? The hands come up. I said, wow, man, there's a few hands. I said, that's pretty sad. I said, but you know what? Put your hand down. I said, now, here's the key question. If you are a bully, put your hand up. How many people you think put their hand up? None. No one will ever put their hand up. No one will ever admit that they're a bully.
Yeah, right.
So I told the students who were getting bullied, I said, so you see, kids, we've just worked out what a bully is. A bully is an absolute coward.
Wow.
And it hits him hard.
Yeah, 100%.
I go, what a coward. He's got the nerve to bully you, but he hasn't got the nerve to put his hand up and say that he's a bully. If I was a bully, I'd own it. I don't care. Yeah, I'm a bully. Let me own it. But you're not owning it. That means there's something going on in your life. So the next time one of you kids get bullied, I need you to do me a favor. I said, I want you to tell the person that's bullying you that everything's going to be okay. Whatever it is that you're going through in your life, or whatever it is that you're going through at home, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. And if you need somebody to talk to, you can talk to me.
Wow.
If you bullying me makes you feel better, then that's okay.
Wow.
Imagine doing that to a bully. That would shoot him down, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It would shoot him down. And so that's one of the tools that I use today now when I visit schools, because there is a lot of bullying out there.
Great tool.
Yeah, every one of us has gone through. I think I don't think there's any generation that hasn't had it. I think I'd say it's part of growing up. You know what I mean? So of course we're going to eliminate it.
But it's a different bullying too now. The social media.
Well, I mean, there's bullying that goes on outside of school. There's bullying at workplaces. Yes. There's bullying in the boxing industry. Yes. There's bullying in promoters. I've been caught on the end of that stick. I've been there. I've been in a situation where I've been bullied by promoters. I've been blacklisted by TV networks because of promoters. Like that's a bully tactic.
Mashallah.
And that's happened to me.
Take us through the next clip, inshallah, for your boxing career. Obviously,
so there you are, the champ.
That's me winning my world titles. You know what I mean? That's
the 2 world titles there.
Yeah, that's like 2 of the proudest moments of my life. That's some of the venues that I faced, like 14. That was that's at Caesar's Palace.
Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, if you go through to the next one, that's MGM Grand.
Is that we see that all?
Yeah.
Is that the one from Ocean's 11?
That's Oscar De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather. They fought in that venue at the MGM Grand. The next photo I think is going to be Madison Square Garden, where I fought there when I fought Rogers Matagua.
How does it feel like fighting and with those kind of crowds?
Huge.
Honestly,
crowd.
it's electric.
Wow.
It's absolutely electric, and I think, to be quite honest with you, I mean, one of my biggest regrets, or one of my biggest, you can't turn back time, but I wish I was boxing in this era. I wish I was boxing today, because if I was world champion today and I had the ability to fill up an arena today, that would be something special. We've got some really, really good promoters in boxing today.
Yeah.
The Rose brothers are doing great things, and they've put Tim Tszyu on an amazing platform.
Wow.
And if I had been world champion today, if I could have filled up a crowd like that with my own people, like I fought in crowds like that. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't, because I fought on the undercard of Hopkins versus Pavlik, De La Hoya versus Mayweather. I fought on the undercard of Winky Wright versus Corte, Shane Mosley versus Collazo, Shane Mosley versus Cotter. I fought in front of big crowds, but I wish I could have had the whole crowd there for me. When you representing your country and the show's all about you, and you're facing a Mexican or an American, and the whole stadium is for you, that's got to be electric. That has to be electric. You know what I mean? That's probably one of the only things that I envy about fighters who are fighting in today's time.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
How do you deal with this kind of pressure? How do you deal with fighting at that level? How do you mentally?
Honestly, I the truth is that I always saw myself there. I envisioned that I would be there one day. That was my dream. And I knew that with hard work and dedication and sacrifice that I would get there. I never thought, could I ever fight there? I knew I was destined to be there. This was my destiny.
Were your parents supportive? Dad supportive? Mum?
Look, my dad
around your corner. Were they dropping you off to boxing?
Yeah. My dad dropped me off at the boxing gym often, and my dad was, as long as I got a good education and looked after my schooling, he was happy for me to do whatever I wanted. But my dad and my mom were very supportive. Obviously, no one wants to ever see their child getting punched in the face, but my father saw that if this made me happy, and then he was going to support it.
In this part of your life, if you don't mind me asking, were you practicing?
Yes. I've been practicing since I was a kid.
MashaAllah.
I'll tell you why, because when I was a kid, my father, he instilled Islam in us right away. My dad was a very religious man.
How did he do that?
He's a very religious man.
Do that?
My father's been to Hajj over 25 times.
Wow.
Right? My father used to take groups to Hajj back in the days. And the way my father would do that was he would always make sure that we prayed behind him. Look, and I'll be honest with you, when you're a kid and you're praying, we used to play tootsies behind my dad's back. We used to flick each other. We're praying, but we're flicking each other and doing all these things. You're a kid, right? You don't know the importance of prayer. But my dad was trying, because my dad wasn't forcing it upon us, but he was trying to instill that in us. It wasn't like he hit us with the asa and said, come and pray, or he hit us with the stick, come and pray. No, it wasn't like that. My dad tried to make it interactive. We'd then do it together. And then he would take us to the mosque. And so when my dad would take us to the mosque, he would think we're praying. We'd go and play with the other kids and run on the streets and whatever, but he tried to instill that in us.
The values.
Yeah, the values of Islam. And so I remember, like at a young age, after every Maghrib prayer, my dad would always give us a hadith about certain things in life.
Nice.
He would sit all of us down. And one morning, I was at school, and after school, I went to this convenience store that was right across the road from my school. This is the first time in my life that I ever stole. I walked into a shop. It was called Ampol. And it wasn't a gas station, but it was an Ampol shop that sold like drinks and all that stuff. And so there was a lot of people in the shop because it's right across the road from the school. So you could imagine it was packed with kids buying lollies. And I was like, man, I'm not waiting for this line. So I just took a pack of lifesavers and then I walked out. First time I ever stole. First time and last time that I ever stole, and I'll tell you why. That night, it just so happened to be that Allah had decreed for my dad to do a talk about stealing.
Wow.
And what happens when you steal. I didn't sleep 1 minute that night. Because I started thinking,
that terrified you.
I've just stole a packet of lifesavers. Nobody knows about it besides me and Allah. and I'm going to hell. And I couldn't tell my mom and dad that I stole because they're going to get smacked, you know? I was young.
Subhanallah.
So the next morning I woke up after not having much sleep with great anticipation, said, Dad, I need 40 cents. And 40 cents back in the day spoke value.
Yeah.
What do you need 40 cents for? Dad, I need 40 cents. Is something wrong? Do you need? I said, Dad, just can I have 40 cents, please? Because my dad owned a convenience store, I could have just took it out of the till, but that would be stealing again.
Double dipping.
Dad, can I have it, please?
Subhanallah.
And he gave me the 40 cents. And the true story, wahet Allah, I walked into the Ampol store, and the shop was empty. And I said to the man, excuse me, sir. And he goes, yes. And I said, yesterday when the store was extremely full, I stole a packet of Lifesavers. He goes, don't worry about it, kid. I said, no. I have to worry about it. I'm going to hell. And he goes, son, you're not going to hell. Calm down. And I said, sir, this is 40 cents to pay for the life. I said, don't worry about it. I said, please take it because I don't want to go to hell, please. And he goes, all right, mate, give it to me. So I gave it to him and I walked down. I said, Ya Allah, I will never steal again. And from that day, alhamdulillah, I can tell you that I have never stolen or taken or put my hand on anything that wasn't mine. Ever. And I think
amazing. Isn't it amazing the stories?
Yeah, wallah.
Like that story, like if your dad didn't have that story with you that night,
no.
subhanallah, and it's amazing. And
That could have been the start of my thieving careers. You know, that could have been, I could have turned into a thief.
And how Allah inspires.
100%. Like, great advice for some of our fathers that are listening, and especially connecting him to prayer, connecting him to the hadith of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I try to do that. I've got 4 boys, so you can imagine. I always constantly, I get my oldest to pray and leading in prayer.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's a very, very good thing to do.
So important, wallah.
You know, I have a son, and my son is he's only a month and a few days away from being 4 years of age.
Inshallah.
And you know, my son, when not the whole prayer, and I never force him. I never said, Dad, come pray with me. I said, Dad, I'm going to pray, Dad. I'm going to pray with you, Dad. Very quick-witted as well. Like exactly, man, he reminds me of like a mirror image of how I was. Looks nothing like me. He looks exactly like his mum, which is no problem because I love her to death. But he has the same characteristics as me as a kid. He's very, fiery, wants to play, wants to break things, and that's exactly how I was. The apple does not far too far from the tree. And when I pray, I see him standing next to me. And when I'm reading, he'll read. He'll muddle up, but he'll try to read with me. But this is a good thing. And so what I do with him, I say, Dad, you don't know how to read the Fatha. Yes, I do. I said, no, you don't. And then I read it and he follows what I'm doing. You know? He doesn't know that I'm teaching him. He thinks I'm playing a game with him, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
So, but what an amazing feeling it is to relive your life through your children.
Yeah, man.
For me, watching my son do things is like, wow, that's me reliving my life.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, honestly.
So take us through now. Take us through the
training,
the training,
the hardships of training. I think.
Where did you go? What happened? What advice did you get? What was the growth there?
The one thing I was when I was younger was like the pinnacle of boxing was to arrive in America. That's what it was all about. If you make it to America and you fight there, you've made it.
That's the benchmark.
Yeah, and so when I was 21 years of age, and I was professional by then, I'd missed out on the Olympic Games due to my own stupidity. I fell off a motorbike and caused myself injury, and I had 113 amateur fights. I had 98 wins and 15 losses.
Wow, mashallah.
And I represented Australia at the World Junior Championships in Hungary. Yeah, I went to Cuba, fought in the World Junior Championships. I fought in the World Senior Championships in Thailand. I fought at the Acropolis Club. I fought at all these tournaments. I lived at the Australian Institute of Sport, chasing one goal, and that was to go to the Olympic Games. When all that failed and crumbled, meeting Prince Nassim Hamed changed my life. Because he was my childhood hero. Prince Nassim Hamed is like a legend of the sport of boxing. And
where was that? Next.
So if you go through the photos here, that's Sugar Shane Mosley. Inshallah. That's Mike Tyson. That's Bernard Hopkins. That's Prince Nassim Hamed. There's the legend Prince Nassim Hamed, you know.
Inshallah. So you met him. Where did you meet him?
So I'm 17 years of age, and Prince Nassim Hamed is supposedly going to be a guest speaker at Lakemba Mosque.
Wow.
My sisters come home with a pamphlet that says that Prince Nassim Hamed alongside, Khalid Yassin alongside Prince Nassim Hamed will be guest speakers in the Kemba Mosque. Who do you think the first person at the mosque was? Me. I was the first person there, and I was an hour early. And subhanAllah, the Sheikh came out, and then they rolled out a screen. And back in them days, there was no such thing as FaceTime or any of that,
Yeah,
or
Zoom and
nothing like that. So when
You had that magazine?
whenever Nas spoke,
this wasn't.
no, this was at his house. Whenever Nas spoke, his name would come up on his just that thing would come up like him talking.
Oh wow!
But when he finished talking and the Sheikh finished the seminar or the khutbah or whatever it was, I approached him and said, Sheikh, my name is Billyve. I've had 113 amateur fights. I've had 98 wins and 15 losses, and I have done everything in my career to emulate Nassim Hamed. He's my childhood hero, and I've written to him over 400 times with no response. Can you please call him back? I can't do that, brother. And I said, Sheikh, for the sake of Allah. I said, brother, I cannot do that, man. He's American. I said, bro. I said, Sheikh, please. He goes, where do you train? I said, I train at Kogra. Kogra? I said, yeah, Kogra. And he goes, I'm going to come watch you train. I go, okay. So he came to the gym to watch me train. And he's like, yo, man, Nassim's going to love the way you spin on the dime and did all these things. And I was like, so you're going to ring him? And he goes, no, I ain't going to ring him. He goes, but what I'm going to tell you to do is you follow what I tell you to do, and I guarantee you who will ring you. And I was like, oh, man, this is not going to happen. So he puts me together with these people, and the brother, his name was Subhi. Subhi is the most beautiful man in the world, and I'll never forget him because he made my dream come true. He helped put together a portfolio for me with messages, pictures. He'd even got a video cassette, and he said, get some videos of your fights, and I'm going to burn your fights onto other video and onto a video cassette. He created like this nice cover for the video cassette with a picture of me fighting. And he said, I'm going to... So he done this amazing glossy pages, my dreams, what I want to do. I want to become world champion.
Did a media pack for you, really?
Everything. That's what he did.
Wow.
Gave it to the Sheikh, had a phone number on it, and the Sheikh says, I'm going to give it to Nassim Hamed. I said, Sheikh, please, I'm begging you, please make sure that he rings me. He says, by Allah, I will ask him to ring you. If he does that, that's on him. If he doesn't, that's on him. He goes, but I promise you, I will give him the amana.
You will send the message.
I'm going to give him the amana. The amana is the package you've given me.
SubhanAllah.
1 week after the Sheikh left, I get a phone call to my phone, and the number was 447700 something millions of zeros.
Wow. Can I ask you something? Why was it so important for you?
Because he was my childhood hero. He was everything to me.
He was your Rocky.
He was my...
So you looked up to him. That's it.
He was everything to me. He was like... When he fought, he mentioned the law, you know what I mean? He was everything I wanted to be.
It was one of the biggest reasons why we've created this podcast.
I connected with him because he...
That moment,
yeah.
There is so many in our community and abroad that just by meeting him and having a little chat can change your whole life.
Well, the thing is now is that I'll continue, but I'll tell you because he says something to me that I'm going to bring back to that, what you've just said then. But when I got the phone call, I picked up the phone, I said, hello, and he says, hello, is that Bilal? And I said, yeah. I said, who's that? And he goes, Habibi, it's Prince Nassim. And I'm like, who? He says, Bilal, it's Prince Nassim, Habibi, can you hear me? And I said, give me 1 second. And I started screaming that Prince Nassim was on the phone. All my siblings in the house, what the hell's wrong with this kid, you know what I mean? And my mom's like, talk to him, you idiot. You know, what are you doing? So I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. He said, Bilal, Habibi, I seen your tape. He goes, I can't believe there's a fighter in Australia that fights just like me. And I was like,
wow.
Nas, you don't understand, man. You mean everything to me. You're my childhood hero. You're like, I love you. You have no idea, man. I want to be everything like you and more, inshallah. You know, and he's like, Habibi, and I ask Allah that you'll be better than me. He says, listen, when are you going to come and visit me? I said, Nas, you wouldn't believe it. I'm on holidays right now. And he goes, I said, I can come tomorrow. No, Bilal, be serious, Habibi. I said, listen, Nas, I'm not joking. I can come now. So he says, put your dad on the phone. So I put my dad on the phone, and he's stick to my dad and salam alaikum and hayyak Allah and all these things. And then he says to my dad, can I invite Bilal to come to the UK to meet me? And my dad says, if you want to, no problem. Next thing you know, this guy's booked me a flight to come to the UK,
Wow.
right? I arrive in the UK.
SubhanAllah.
First time overseas?
This is not my first time overseas. I've been overseas by then about 100 times.
For the fights, yeah.
Yeah, as an amateur, I traveled everywhere.
He
I've been
paid for your ticket. Sadaqah
everything,
Sadaqah jariyah.
everything. And then when I arrived,
bless him.
when I arrived into the
We
UK,
need to make dua for this brother right now.
he's the most,
Allahu Akbar.
man. This guy's the most amazing person in the world. It doesn't even stop there. There's so much more.
Allahu Akbar.
And when I arrive into the UK, there's a gentleman who has a flyer that says Billy Dib, and I'm thinking Nas is going to pick me up. This is what I'm thinking, right? So I arrive, and then the driver says, I'm driving you to Sheffield, which is about 3 hours away.
Wow.
And he goes, and you're going to stay at Khalid Yassin's house, Sheikh Khalid Yassin's house. And I was like, okay, but I'm supposed to be staying with Prince Nassim. And he goes, no. Nassim, well, leave it to the Sheikh. He'll explain. So I get to the Sheikh's house, and I'm like, Sheikh, I'm good to go. Like, can we go see Nas? And he's like, Nas is a bit busy, but he's going to come and see you tomorrow, inshallah.
SubhanAllah.
So you know me, I get up in the morning early. I've basically had no sleep because I'm jet lagged, but I'm pumped to see him. Anyway, I waited. I fell asleep on the couch. This guy didn't turn up. One day he didn't turn up. 2 days he didn't turn up. 3 days he didn't turn up.
Wow.
By the third day, I'm thinking that somebody's played a hoax on me. It's just a
Wow.
joke. So I start telling and the Sheikh's dragging me from talk to talk because he travels the UK doing talks in Birmingham, this place, Manchester. And he's dragging me to all these talks, which is amazing. But I don't really care about the talks right now because all I care about is meeting Prince Nassim Ahmed.
SubhanAllah.
So I'm
He's grooming you.
yes, but I'm getting edgy. So then I said,
Were you talking? Did you talk? Oh, the Sheikh was talking.
the Sheikh would be talking to Nas, not me.
Then I'm saying, but at the masjid, were you doing any talks?
No.
You're just there.
No, I
You're
was
just following him around.
I'm just following him
So how
around.
old were you there?
This is me older. This is me much older.
Ah, okay.
This is
What
me
age
much-
group was that?
I met Nas when I was 17.
17.
Baby faced.
Wow.
I was baby faced.
SubhanAllah.
Anyway, this is like much later. This was in 2016.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is after Cyrus passed away, and I've gone to the UK to meet to spend some time with him.
Okay.
But I'll tell you about that story. We'll get there. So I eventually told the Sheikh, I said, Sheikh, look, I need to train. You know, I'm a bit upset right now, and I need to go burn some steam and take me to the gym. So he takes me to a gym where Nas trained as a kid, and Nas hates him, and he dislikes these people at the time. He's had a fallout with them. They were his trainers throughout his whole career, and then he's had a fallout and moved on with his
wow.
career.
Wow.
He's now been trained by Emmanuel Stewart and Oscar Suarez.
SubhanAllah.
So he gets wind that I'm at this gym. Next thing you know, the driver comes back in and says, Bilal, we got to go. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm in the middle of a session. He says, no. You're going to be very happy. We have to go. And I was like, what are you talking about? Bilal, please, we have to go. I said, all right, let's go. So we left. I'm very, very upset that we're leaving the gym because I was just getting into the flow of things. Meeting Brendan Ingle and Johnny Nelson and Kell Brook and all these guys who became legends and champions of boxing later on.
SubhanAllah.
And I turn up at this place and it looks like the White House. It looks like a castle. It's called the White House Castle. That's in my mind. That's what I'm thinking. And the guy goes to me, go and hit the doorbell. So I hit the doorbell and the doorbell says, welcome to Prince Nassim's boxing gym.
Boxing gym.
Yeah, and I opened up the door and Nas was standing there and he was leaning on a bag. And as soon as I seen him, I broke down and started crying. He says, Bilal, Habibi, why are you crying? I said, Nas, I just can't believe it. I thought they were playing a joke on me. No, Bilal, I'm so sorry, Habibi. I've been busy because this and that. And I was at the snooker tournament and my friend Ronnie's. And anyways, he's hugging me and kissing me and all these things. And I love you, Habibi. And don't worry, Habibi. Where's your bags? I said, they're at the Sheikh's house. He said, no, Bilal, listen, Habibi, you're staying with me. And I said, really? He's like, yeah, Bilal, you're staying with me, Habibi. We're going to get your stuff. Anyway, so the next thing you know, we did a training session. At the time, he had this Lincoln Navigator, which is a really fun car. He had a whole bunch of other Ferraris and Lamborghinis, but we were in this. And this was the first time that I seen you could put your finger on the door and the door would open. I was like, whoa, man, oh, wow. You know?
The fingerprint.
And
doorbell.
we're in the car and we're driving and whatever. And then all of a sudden, we're training every day. And then one day, he says, yo, turn that music down for a second. Turn it down. So they turned the music down and says, Bilal, do you know Surah Al-Kursi? And I was like, nah. And he's like, like vaguely, and he's like, oh, Bilal, listen, we can't be training no more until you learn it, Habibi. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, every time you're shadowboxing, I want you to read that surah to me right now. He goes, we're not putting the music back on in here until you learn that surah. Yeah, so anyway, he taught me the surah, right?
Allahu Akbar.
And then, so now every time he rings me, he says, yo, Bilal, read that surah for me. And I was like, why? And he's like, because when you read it, I get rewards. So read it quick, man. You know what I mean? And so we built the most amazing relationship, to be quite honest.
What a great relationship.
You know, and this was a time when after Sarah passed away and I had been through a few things, and he came to Australia to spend some time with me, and then I flew back, and he and I went to Dubai and spent some amazing time. And this is in his home. And then after this here, I went back to Australia. Things were okay for a little while, and then he and I don't know what happened, but subhanAllah, the shaitan got involved, and he and I had a little bit of a fallout. And this was the first time in my life that I'd ever fallen out with him. I'd never had an argument with him, but we exchanged some not nice words, and we both went on our way. It was like, you know, I don't need you, and yeah, Habibi, I don't need you either, Habibi, get out of my life and whatever. And anyway, and it was sad, man. I was devastated, you know what I mean? And the thing was is that I was in the process of writing my book, and on my book, all I'm doing is praising him, and all of a sudden now I'm having a fallout with him. I'm taking him out of my book, you know what I mean? But he played a big role.
Wow.
Anyway, so, you know, I ended up, he told me in a phone call, Bilal, you know what, Habibi, live your life, and Habibi, you write whatever you want in the book. I said, you know what, Naz, I'm going to write the truth. You were my childhood hero, and I loved you and whatever, and I'm just going to leave it like that, Habibi. He says, Habibi, do whatever you want. I don't care. I said, all right, no problem. Anyway, I did that. I wrote exactly how I felt about him and whatever, right?
You told the truth.
I never put anything about our fallout because that was happening at that time. Like, I just never wrote about it because it was to me it was embarrassing that how could I be a guy who's been bragging about this man my whole life? Every interview I ever did, I bigged him up and talked about him,
And Allah.
you know, because I loved him. And then I'll never forget being sick, and when I was sick, he was the first person I reached out to. And I sent him a message and I said, Naz, I've never needed you more in my life than I need you right now. And his response was very blunt. What can I help you with? What do you want? And I told him, Naz, I'm not well and I'm not going to be around for much longer and I just need to talk to you. As soon as I said that, he obviously saw what was going on. Like
the gravity of the situation.
He felt the response was, and I responded in a voicemail so he could hear my tone and hear that I wasn't well. He rang me straight away. And I was like apologetic and crying on the phone. What, Bilal, don't cry, Habibi, listen. What, don't worry about our stupid argument and don't worry about that, Bilal. And he's like, you know, wallah. And he's like, I'm coming to see you right now. And I said, no, don't do that, Naz. I don't want you to see me like this. Bilal, I don't care, Habibi. I'm coming. I'm going to be with you. And I was like, I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't want you to see me in the state. Remember me for who I was, but I'm just telling you now, I love you and you mean the world to me. And just so the listeners understand about the role that this man played in my life. Each and every single time in my life as a young boy from the age of 17 that I was ever in despair, he was the one person that could get me out of it.
Wow.
Allah used him as a tool to get me out of every bit of despair in my life. Nor my mum, nor my dad could get me out of the despair that he would get me out of. He had a way.
What was the experience?
It's just that
I
loved him so much. I looked up to him so much that whatever he said to me was that was what it was.
Was gospel.
That's it. Khalas. He had the ability to tell me, Bilal, Habibi, you're gonna knock this guy out. I'm knocking him out. You're right. That's what I'm doing. And I would go out and do it.
It's that confidence.
He would ring me before fights and Bilal, how you feeling, Habibi? I said, I'm good, Naz. Bilal, you good, right? You're going to knock this guy out. And I was like, Naz, I'm doing just that. And he's like, Habibi, you ring me right after you knock him out. I'm going to be waiting. Okay, Habibi. Bang. Now I'm going out to knock the guy out because he told me to do it. You know what I mean? Wow. He gave me this. People will never understand. People might think it's weird. Like, how does somebody give you that kind of confidence?
We spoke about that, didn't we, today? I believe in you.
Yeah.
and I'll help you believe in you. Like, remember we spoke about
yeah,
it.
that's
It's
right.
amazing how powerful it is when somebody believes in you
Yeah.
and they help you believe in yourself.
Himself.
And this is exactly what our
Man,
brothers
wallah,
and
wallah.
sisters in our Islam need. And this is what we
Yeah.
do with subhanAllah, the retreat. We were having a chat today.
Yeah,
subhanAllah,
the
your book
retreat,
launch.
yeah. So
So subhanAllah, it's amazing. There you go. There's your rock. You know?
you know, he had this way, you know, I don't like it. I obviously I love him in a way that you guys will never understand what he means to me. Well, it's and only Allah can put that love in your heart.
Amen.
And the thing is, he loves me the same.
SubhanAllah.
You know
How
what I
many
mean?
boys? He's got a few boys.
He's got 3 sons.
3 sons.
Sammy, Adam, and Sulaiman.
Subhanallah.
And they're all the most beautiful kids ever. Like, and they love me and respect me so much. But the relationship I share with this guy is unbelievable, man. And you know, he told me something, and this is going back to what you said now. When I first met him, he said, Bilal, am I everything you expected and more? And I said, Naz, you're everything I expected and more than that. He goes, I'm going to tell you a story, Bilal. He goes, my sister is a massive fan of the Prince, the singer. When I became champion, I introduced my sister to him. After I introduced her to him, she came home and ripped his posters off the wall. I said, why? And he goes, he didn't make the right impression. She hated him after meeting him.
Allahu Akbar.
He goes, but how do you feel about me? I said, Naz, you mean the world to me and more than that. And I go, and you are everything that I ever wanted you to be. And he goes, and someday, Bilal, you're going to do for a child and kids what I did for you.
Allahu Akbar.
And now
So pass the baton. That's it.
when young kids come to me now, because I'm a former 2-time world champion, I tell them what he told me.
Allah.
Even though I never became better than him, he was an amazing fighter. Amazing fighter. But Allah allowed me to win the same world championship that he won in the same weight division.
Wow.
So in 1997, he knocked out Tom Boom Boom Johnson to become the IBF featherweight champion. And in 2011, I beat Jorge La Cierva to win the IBF featherweight world championship. So if you look in the history books, it's got Naz, and then down the line, it's got my name.
Allahu Akbar.
Like, it's an unbelievable thing for me.
Allah.
Yeah. And you know what? If anybody wants to read some of the stories about Naz and the relationship that we shared, it's in the book.
Allah Akbar. Yes,
A True Heart, The Fights of My
Mashallah.
Life. It's in there.
Yeah, mashallah. Today we were at the book launch today at Crown, subhanAllah, mashallah. So anybody who's interested, all your booksellers are selling them, mashallah.
Yeah.
Mashallah, it's an amazing book, and mashallah, he's been awarded amazing stuff. Mashallah.
I just want to touch on the base of being at that height. How old were you there when you went to America?
26.
26. How do you deal with...
But I went to America when I was 21. That's where it all started, 21.
21 at your peak, Muslim of faith, going to Las Vegas, as they call it, the Iblis of...
Yeah.
the devil, what they call
Sin
it?
City.
Sin City.
Sin City.
Yani, how as a Muslim do you
Like reconcile that.
reconcile that? How do you
Because
go into Sin City and keep your values? and
because
keep
I
your-
because I only went there with one intention, and that was to become a world champion. I wasn't interested in the gambling. I wasn't interested in the girls. I wasn't interested in that side of the world. Remember, I said something to you earlier about, you asked me about Salah and stuff. When I was a young boy, I used to pray because I wanted to win.
Allah.
I used to ask Allah. I used to pray because I thought if I ask Allah if I pray and I ask Allah will give me victory. But here's the funny thing: there was times that I didn't win, but guess what? I still prayed. So, like regardless of, it's not like I lost, so I'm not praying. Ya Allah, why'd you do that to me? I'm not praying anymore. It didn't work like that, you know what I mean?
SubhanAllah.
But I thought by praying Allah would give me victory. And so once I had developed this relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Wow.
I didn't, the outside world didn't worry me. It was my relationship with Allah. And don't get me wrong, I'm a sinner. And we're all sinners. And I probably sin 7 million times a day. And I ask Allah to forgive me and forgive all of us for our sins. But
Amen.
sometimes I may sin and it might be intentional, but because of the situation that I'm in. And then other times I sin and I don't know what I'm doing. But the most beautiful thing about Islam that I love is that the rahmah of Allah. Allah says, when you do a sin, I give you a window of 6 hours to ask for forgiveness before I record it against your name.
Wow.
If you ask me for forgiveness, I'll remove that sin and I'll add a hasanah for you. Look at the decree and look at the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wow.
Bismillahi ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Yeah, wow. So, you know, for me, when I went overseas, I would think if I do haram, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to embarrass me on the world stage.
Wow.
That's how I used to think.
SubhanAllah.
So I tried my best to abstain from haram
Amazing.
all the time, because I thought if I do wrong, Allah will embarrass me on the world stage.
So subhanAllah, you were using the shield of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as I say, subhanAllah, I've heard this before from other brothers, subhanAllah, is that if I don't do haram, that's my Superman outfit. I had a brother tell me this. He goes, subhanAllah, when I walk the streets and I know that I haven't done haram, and I'm doing my salat and I'm doing my zikr, I'm doing all the things that are prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I feel like Superman. That's my Superman outfit.
Wow.
But as soon as I look at something, like let's say something tempts me, because I feel like my Superman outfit fell off me.
Yeah.
So I say, Ya Rabbi, forgive me, and then I feel the Superman outfit come back. I think that was the best way somebody's ever described that to me.
Yeah,
subhanAllah.
you know, the thing is that my biggest fear was being embarrassed on the world stage.
Allahu Akbar.
I wasn't scared of losing, because losing is a part of life. You know, even if you're Floyd Mayweather and you've never lost the fight, you still lose every single day. Have you ever thought about it like that? You every single day that you live your life, you lose a day of your life.
100%.
You'll never get it back. So whether you're a winner and you've never lost in your life, you're still a loser, because every day you lose something.
Ameen.
Certain times in your life, you lose loved ones. Certain times in your life, you lose friends. And every single day that passes is a day lost that you'll never get back, so you are a loser. We are losers living in the dunya. That's the truth.
Ameen.
We you know, every day is a test, and every day is a loss.
Ameen.
You know, when a day passes and you feel like you didn't do anything productive, you really lost a day in your life.
Ameen.
You are a loser for that day. So
Beautiful. It's a beautiful perspective. You know?
the most important
SubhanAllah.
thing that you could do in your life is every single day is try to do something positive.
Ameen.
Whether it's for yourself, or whether it's for your deen, or whether it's for somebody else, do something to help somebody and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Make your days productive. Make your days count.
Ameen.
Make every day in your life count for something.
Be a benefit, as we
It's
say.
very benefit.
Yeah, be a benefit to somebody.
So that was your, like I can say you use the word do 5 times now. SubhanAllah. And that's action. SubhanAllah. Commit to the actions, mashallah. And it looks like from what we're talking about today, SubhanAllah, you're a man of action. So that was your training, that was your
I like to get it done.
done. That's it. You're
I
a
like
do
to
man.
get it done. I'm one of those people. I set a goal and I like to smash it down. It's like if I say I want to do something, I won't stop until I do it. It's like creating this brand that I've created, Billyve.
Yeah, believe.
You know, it's about believing in yourself and knowing that it doesn't matter who believes in you, whether it's your mom, your dad, your siblings, your friends, your next door neighbor. If you don't believe in yourself, you'll never succeed. 100%. It all starts with you.
I think on that note, I think can we get
The next.
can we get? No, I want you before we go to talk about your mum, inshallah. I'd love to talk about that, but I'd like you to go to Billyve, to his website, and show our brothers the amazing stuff that you've done with your products. So I'm going to look it up, inshallah. Now we'll put it up, inshallah, there to show our brothers and sisters, inshallah, to support your cause.
How long have you been?
So I launched this brand with the help of a beautiful brother by the name of Atel Hakikat, and the help of a wonderful brother by the name of Jake, who owns a company called G'd Up.
G'd Up.
Yeah, so we launched this company last Friday, and alhamdulillah, you know,
Last Friday, it's only been a week, yeah?
So through the grace and the mercy of Allah, there has been some traction on the page, and this is the page that I've created, and this is a brand that I've created. It's about believing in yourself, having a vision, being consistent in that vision, and only arriving at the point of success.
MashaAllah.
These,
Wow,
these
beautiful,
are
man.
some of the products that I've created, and what I tried to do was make them affordable for people.
MashaAllah.
Very nice.
You know, they're a very good product. They're amazing quality, And if you do make a purchase, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you for doing that because you're supporting me and my family. And if you don't make a purchase, it doesn't matter. Just show some love in another way by sharing the page or...
I want to say something, and I think the Safi bros here are going to do something quickly. It's a fleeting idea. So whoever on this podcast purchase something, puts a photo of themselves wearing this, right, one of these products, inshallah, right, if they go onto the podcast and, you know, through YouTube, inshallah, or through Instagram and stuff like that, right, we're going to give away $500 to one person who's purchased that product.
Wow, subhanAllah. Thank you
So
so
whoever
much.
gives it up and puts a photo online on the podcast, we're going to pick somebody, inshallah, and we're going to give them $500. How about that?
Lord, thank you so much. That's amazing. Honestly,
So
that's
support
amazing.
our brother, inshallah.
100%.
I think it'll be an amazing thing for us to support what you do and the amazing work that you've done.
Inshallah.
We want to help people and brothers to believe.
Yeah, of course. And yeah,
And-
this brand is based on faith. It's based on my faith in believing in myself and believing in the decree of Allah and believing that I'm only here through the decree of Allah. You know, guys, I was told that I had 6 months to live.
How did that feel, man? How did that feel? Like that moment. Like I would love for you to take us to that moment. Like how did you physically handle that?
Yeah, what happened? What happened? Did you
I was
feel sick?
I was extremely sick.
Out of nowhere?
No, I was in the gym one day feeling fine. And then a friend of mine in the gym who I was doing some sparring with, he punched me in the stomach.
Yep.
And after he punched me in the stomach, I felt this excruciating pain, something like I've never felt before. It didn't wound me, but it gave me a really sharp pain. I continued the sparring. And when I left and I went home, I told my wife, I said, I think I've tore something in my stomach because I'm in excruciating pain. Long story short.
And you can handle pain.
Yeah. Long story short, my wife said, go to the hospital and went to the hospital. There was some neglect. Then it was Jummah. It was a Friday and it was Jummah. And my brother rang me. My brother Muhammad rang me and I said, he goes, but what were you doing at hospital yesterday? I forget the hospital yesterday. I said, MD, if you don't help me today, I'll be dead. I'll be dead by tonight. I need help, please.
Wow.
And he goes, what do you mean you'll be dead? And I said, I don't know. There's something growing in my stomach. I can feel it. Something's happened. And so when they took me to do the scan, the lady was like scanning here. And I said, no, excuse me, ma'am, I'm so sorry to tell you how to do your job, but can I show you where the pain is? I took the thing and I showed her and she was like, oh my God, now I can see what you're talking about. And she's like, there's something that doesn't look right there. So then she rings the doctor, and his name's Dr. Bahin, and he says, let's send him in for a scan. When I eventually come out of the scan, I fall asleep. He then wakes me up and he says, do you want the good news or the bad news? And I said, it doesn't matter.
Why do doctors do that?
He goes, the good news is that we're going to operate on you today, or we're going to operate on you tomorrow morning. We don't usually operate on Sundays, but because you're a call-in by a friend, we're operating on you today, tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And he goes, what's the bad news? He goes, the bad news is we've found colon cancer. We've found cancer in your colon area. Who should we ring? I go, ring my wife, which probably wasn't the right idea. He rang my wife and she had a heart attack on the phone. Because she answered the phone. I said, Berry, alhamdulillah, salama, habibi, how you doing? I said, yeah, look, I just want to let you know that they found cancer, but the doctor wants to speak to you. So he gets on the phone. She's now hysterical. And he says to her, I'm going to need you to calm down. And could you contact Bilal's father? And she goes, I can't because he's in hospital suffering from cancer himself.
Allah.
So he goes, she goes, I'll ring his brother Jihad. So my brother Jihad gets on the phone with him. He gives him permission to basically send me into the theater to do the operation. So they remove the colon cancer. I'm told to stay in the hospital for the next couple of days. We may need to do a bit of chemotherapy. I said, absolutely not. I won't be doing no chemo. If you've said that you've taken out the cancer, there's no need to do chemotherapy because you said you took it out. Yeah, but there might be some particles floating around. I said, it doesn't matter. I'll fight that with some other things. I'll use some black seed oil and I'll do some Islamic remedies and Chinese remedies and all these things.
Why did you have that staunch?
Because Sarah, my wife, had passed away from cancer in 2015 and I did not want to go down that route of using the chemo because she died from the chemotherapy. I had a fear of the chemo. So they sent me home with this colon cancer, and after a week, they sent me home. A week later, on Friday again, I start feeling a serious pain. Her cousin Bilal is a doctor. Bilal Eji, my wife's cousin, and he says to me, "Listen, we need to take you to the hospital." I said, "Bro, please don't take me to the hospital. Just leave me here. I don't want to go to the hospital again. Just let me stay here. Let me rest. Maybe I just need to sleep. Can I sleep on your bed?" He goes, "Yeah, have a little lay down." I laid down. He goes, "If it doesn't get better in 30 minutes, we need to take it." Then my wife rang the hematologist, Dr. Sanjay, and his exact words to her was, "I'm very sorry." He goes, "We were hoping that we wouldn't have to see you till Monday because we don't have good news, but we thought we'd let you guys have till Monday and you guys are going to come in and see us." But he goes, "We've misdiagnosed Bill. He actually did have colon cancer, but we've actually found another separate cancer that he has through these bloods. He has non-Hodgkin's Burkitt lymphoma cancer, and you're going to need to bring him back to the hospital if he's not in a good way." She goes, "He's in a really bad way." So she took me back.
So they gave you that weekend,
Yeah. So
knowing exactly what was going on.
yeah, they took me back, and it was an absolute disaster. And then eventually, after the drugs they gave me and whatever.
How do you deal with that? Leaving, yep, you're all right, go back to now again.
Roller coaster, man. It was a roller coaster, but I put my trust in Allah. I just.
How did you do that? How did you put your trust in Allah?
Because I'm not in control.
How did you do it? How do you talk to yourself?
Because the way I looked at it was like, who do I fight with over this? I'm sick, but who do I fight with over this? It's not an opponent that I can see. I can't fight this opponent cancer because I can't see it, and I can't argue with Allah because I'm no better than anybody else.
No.
Well, if Allah gave me this, it's a gift. I've got to take the gift. You take the good with the bad. When not only when life is good, you say Alhamdulillah, and you say good Alhamdulillah when things are bad too.
Alhamdulillah.
So I had to say Alhamdulillah anyway. So, when I sat in the hospital room, and then eventually my mum came and she was with me, and she said, "Bilal, ma fi shi. Ana ummak wa ana hasisni qalbi ma fi shi."
Can we put that photo of his mum?
Yeah. And she was rubbing her chest and telling me that she has a good feeling that there's nothing wrong. Ma fi shi ناخدك على البيت. She says to me. There she's right there, yeah. She's the rock of my life, And so then moments later, Dr. Bhattacharyan walks in and says that he's my hematologist. And I said to him, what's a hematologist? I had no idea, And so he says, "I need to speak to you. Can I speak in front of that woman?" And I said, "That's my mum. So anything you can tell me, you can tell my mum." Wow. And he sat me down and he said, "Look, I understand you have reservations about chemotherapy." And he goes, "Okay, yeah, I'm not doing no chemo." And he goes, "Do you know the extent of your sickness?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, you're extremely sick, and by the looks of things, you won't be around for much longer." And I was like, wow. "What do you mean?" And then he said to me, "You'll be dead in 6 months." And then I looked at him and I said, "You're not God and you can't tell me that." And he goes to me, "No, I never said I was God." He goes, "But I am a hematologist and I know what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you now, you're extremely sick and you won't be around for much longer."
Did he give you a stage of the cancer? What did he say?
That was just all he said to me. So I looked back at my mum and she started crying. And then I said to him, "Look, Alhamdulillah for everything." I said, "This is God's will." I said, "But how can I turn 6 months into 60 years? And he said, "Why?" And as soon as he said why, I said, "I have a son who's 3 years old who I need to walk to school in 2 years' time and a wife and a family to be here for." And I said, "I don't want to die." And he goes to me, "You got to take the chemo." And I said to him, "Okay, I'm on board." And he was shocked to see that I was right on board. And I was like, he's like, "Just like that?" And I said, "Look, I told you before, it's not about me anymore. It's about we." And when I say we, I mean my wife, my son, my family. I can't leave like this. I go, the reason why I had reservations is because my wife, Sarah, died from chemotherapy. Yeah, I need you to understand that. And he goes, "I didn't know that." And I said, "Well, we've had a couple of cases of cancer in our family. My uncle, Haysam, died from leukemia and my wife died from cancer." And he goes, "Has anybody else in your family died from cancer?" And I said, "One of my cousin's kids died from cancer. And he goes, okay, so we're going to need to do some research on that. And he goes, but we need to get moving quick. And I said, what do I got to do? And he goes, you got to start chemotherapy yesterday. And I said, all right, let's go. And so
at that time, did you put your reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and just
I tell you, as soon as the doctor left and my mum was crying, she said that she needed to have a cigarette. That was the best thing that she could have done, because I needed a few moments to just
grasp?
No, not grasp. I needed to process that moment. I needed to process what he said, and I didn't want to tell anybody anything until I processed it in my mind. And so I rang up. I didn't ring anybody, actually. I asked Allah. I said, Ya Allah, I'm not sure what you have in store for me, but I ask you that if you have opened up a place for me in Jannah, then take me. And if you haven't, Ya Allah, I would love more time. And I cried. And then what I did was I rang my brother Ahmad, because my brother Ahmad's played such a pivotal role in my life. And when I rang Ahmad, he was overseas, and I said, bro, I don't want to die. And he goes, you're not going to die. And I said, listen, I need to see you like as soon as possible. I need to talk to you. It's very, very important. And he goes, I'm coming home. I'm coming back. So as soon as he arrived in Australia, he came straight to the hospital. And I said to him, I need to talk to you. I said, you know, I don't want to die. But if I die, I need you to look me in the eye now and tell me you're going to look after my son. I'm asking you to take on that responsibility, not anybody else. And he goes, I'll tell you now. He goes, Wahiyat Allah. He goes, I'm telling you now. Life is my son. Let's leave it there. And I go, hey, Matt, that means I want the best schools. I want the best education. I don't want him to box. I want him to learn how to read Quran, all of these things. Please listen to what I'm saying to you. This is what I want. And he made me that promise right then and there. And he said to me, I promise you, your son will go to the best schools. I'll make sure that he does sports. I'll make sure that he learns Quran. All of what you want, I promise you, I will fulfill that. He goes, but you're not going to die. Everything you've asked me to do, you're going to do it yourself. He's your son. You're not going to die. We're going to get you through it.
So you were doing your will on the spot?
Yeah, I done it right then and there. And that's the one thing that I was grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah gave me an opportunity to rectify everything that was going wrong in my life. Calling the people who I felt I had fallen out with, putting everything in place, like my vehicles, property, whatever it is. Some people die in a car accident and never get the opportunity to rectify anything in their life or put anything in place. But Allah gave me time to be able to say, okay, I could have 6 months, I could have less, but I've got time now to make a few phone calls and put everything in place, which I did. And the one thing that I did was I messaged somebody who's very, very close to me. His name's Sid David. And he's like a brother to me and a father and a mentor and somebody who I love dearly. And he's not Muslim. He's Christian, but he's my brother because he's a believer in the book. And I said to Sid, I've been told that I have 6 months to live. I'm going to die, brother. He responded back by saying, you need to surrender, and then a whole bunch of things after it. As soon as I said, you need to surrender, I quickly closed the phone. I said, what is he talking about? He's telling me to quit. I was on drugs at this time, by the way, on some heavy drugs. So the minute I read surrender, I was like, man, why would Sid want me to die? Like, I started tripping, you know? And so then when I eventually sobered up, I went back to the message. It says, you need to surrender to a higher power. You are not in control here.
Wow.
Surrender yourself to God.
Wow.
And when I did that, in my mind, that gave me so much ease, like you would not believe. I became disconnected with the world. I became so disconnected, I thought, if Allah takes me, He's taking me as I'm a cleansed person. I'm going to Jannah. So if I don't see you now, I'll see you in Jannah, inshallah. I'll make dua for you. I'll ask Allah for you to come to Jannah with me. That was my mindset. The only thing that was breaking me was my son. He was breaking me every day, because I would have times where I'd cry in hospital because all I wanted to do was see him.
You couldn't see him.
No, I like he would come, but I'd have to go outside to sit with him for like maybe 30 minutes or whatever. My wife would bring him on Sunday for a little bit and then he'd leave. She'd spend the day with me. But that was like just to be able to see him, you know, when I got the opportunity to be able to go home, because I negotiated with the hospital that if you do not give me time away from the hospital and to go home and try to recoup, I'm not doing this anymore. So I played the negotiating role with him. And I remember just photos that my wife took where I would be sleeping and just holding him, you know, like holding him, like no hair, no nothing. And
Put up some photos. Yes. Let's get the next photos up.
My poor son, you know, like he started.
Look at that with a smile.
Yeah, he started seeing images like this, and he started seeing people with bald hair. So he would start seeing people with bald hair and say, "Dad, does he have cancer?" And I said, "No, Dad, this person doesn't have cancer. They just like to shave their hair bald." So every time you see somebody with bald head, he's like, he's got cancer, you know. But
you were always in happy spirits?
I tell you why. Because even though there was many days of despair and heartache and pain, anytime I ever posted anything, I never wanted to post anything negative, because I felt like I was a tool to help people who were going through this. And the other thing is, the truth is why I started the journey of posting while I was sick was because truth is I thought that I wasn't going to make it. I wanted to make it, but I thought that this is an impossible sickness to get through. And if my son is going to, you know, see anything, I want him to see that Dad tried his best. My dad tried his best. My dad was a warrior, and he never gave. My dad never gave up. My dad fought his ass off.
So these pictures were for your son more than anybody.
These were all for my son. I wanted him to see that my dad, he never gave up. So when he went to school and people ask him, "Do you have a dad?" He says, "My dad died from cancer when I was 3, but my dad was a warrior. My dad tried his best to be here for me."
Allah.
And the hardest things that I would do when I was in private is I would put my phone on like the edge of the bed, sitting up, and I would record myself telling my son, "Hey Dad, you know, I know you're probably like 10 years old now, and I just wanted to make sure that you're being a good boy and looking after your mom." And it's hard for me because you know, like when I feel like I was gonna leave him, you know, when I feel like I was gonna leave him. Allah. And so, you know, I did all these messages for him, and I saved them in my phone. And I'd save them, then I'd put them in a deleted file, and I put a lock on the deleted file. And I told my wife, I said, "Look, I've recorded some things for you and Laith, and if Allah decides to take me, I want you to show him."
Wow.
And sorry, man, Allah, it's hard. You know, it says like that was the hardest thing. That was the one thing that was breaking me was my son. Well, like, and you know, I'm cancer free now, but it still hurts me to think that I did them videos for him. And even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, you know, tomorrow is not promised, you know, and I could die at any time, right? But when doctor tells you that you got 6 months to live, man, and you're thinking about your boy, and I thought, like, I'm not gonna watch him. I'm not gonna watch him grow, but I wanted him to know that everything I've done in my life, I did it for him and for his mum, you know.
Alhamdulillah.
So, you know, that was probably one of the best moments in my life was when the doctor rang me and he said, "Hey, Bill, I have good news for you. You're cancer free. You're in remission." I started shedding tears, and then I quickly got my phone out and I deleted all the videos.
Allah.
That was probably the hardest thing. You know what I mean? Like, I deleted them. I didn't even want to watch them anymore.
SubhanAllah.
I just deleted
So you didn't have him? Didn't have him at all?
No, I deleted them. They're gone.
Allah.
I didn't want him to ever see him.
Allah.
I didn't want him to see what I went through. Like, because I was not in a good way. I was in a really bad state when I was recording these videos. I would only record for him when I was extremely sick, because I wanted him to see what Dad was going through.
Allah.
And I wanted him to know, look, I was trying my best. Dad, I'm sorry. And I apologized to him many times on the videos. But I tried my best. Is what I tried to tell him. Like, "Dad, I'm trying, but this hurts. You know, like that's some of the things that I told him. Like,
And Allah.
and I always asked him to just be a good boy. Please look after your mum. Don't be bad, Dad, and do me a favor and learn how to read the Quran.
Allah.
That was my concern. And I know there's a lot of brothers out there and sisters who are sick with cancer, and they're probably going through the same thing and thinking that I want to leave their loved ones and their family members. And that's the hardest thing, man. It's like I always feel sorry for those who pass away from cancer because I feel like it's not. I don't say it's unfair, but I feel like Allah bless me, and it's hard for me when I speak to somebody who lost a family member of theirs to cancer, and for me to say that Allah spared me. I feel like, you know, a lot of people start sending me messages saying Allah has favored you. Allah favors you. And I'm like, Allah gave me a second chance, you know, and I'm just grateful. And like,
Alhamdulillah.
the only thing that matters to me now and you know, is to be there for my wife and my son. Allah. And maybe even now, like, you know,
Has it given you?
it has, but you know, you still fall into the traps of, you know, like,
Dunya.
yeah, like, you know, not even the dunya, but like for me, like, you know, spending too much time on your telephone when you're around your kid or you're around your wife, like there's no need to have that. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I need to probably do a bit more of is just stop.
Be present.
Yeah, just be present in the moment. And my wife told me all the time, she's like, you know, one day
We're all guilty of that.
Leif's going to be older and he's not going to want to hang out with you. So just give him his attention now, you know, and soak up as much as you can from me. You want it to be around for him, be there, you know what I mean? And it's so true, you know what I mean? And I never argue with her when she tells me that because I'm like, you know, you're right. Because he's the most important person in my life, you know, right now.
Allah khalak ya Rab.
So, you know.
So we're from here. We're from here now.
Look, so now, like I said to you, you know, I'm doing my best to try to, you know, visit schools. You know, I don't earn money from boxing anymore. And, you know, and the one thing that I can be honest about, and I will be honest about, is that there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there who think I'm a multi-millionaire, and it's not true. You know, yeah, I fought in a really good era and I had some good fights and that, but I never earned the $1 million paychecks that boxing delivered to other fighters. That's the truth.
SubhanAllah.
You know, I did make a little bit of money. I've invested the money and, you know, I can't go through life without doing something. I need to be able to earn money to support my family, my wife and my son, and, you know, and support. And I don't live a lavish lifestyle. That's the truth. I don't. You know, I don't have the fancy cars. I've had fancy cars in the past. I don't have them now. You know, but, you know, I think the brothers and the sisters out there perceive that Billy Dib's a multi-millionaire, and it's not true.
SubhanAllah.
I'm not.
Perception is
Perception
people's
is
reality.
It's not true. Wallah. It's you know, it's I'm comfortable. You know, and on the day of resurrection, we will be considered the rich.
Amen.
We will be considered the rich, and Allah will hasibna being considered the rich. You know what I mean? But you know, now I've developed a brand called Billyve that I hope can take off and can support me and my family. And I've you know, I'm trying to do a few things like investment wise in property, and I'm trying to become one of the best motivational speakers in the world. Just travel the world with my book, A True Heart, The Fight of My Life, and try to inspire as many kids as I can through my story.
Why?
Because I feel like my book is a book about life and a book about overcoming the odds and a book about overcoming the bullies and all the experiences that these kids face. I went through. I've gone through this, losing loved ones, fighting cancer. You know, this book's got a bit of everything in it. It's like a guide of life. You know what I mean? And obviously, as a Muslim, we live our life, you know, trying to follow in the footsteps of our beloved Prophet Muhammad. But Allah has tested me on so many occasions, and it's only through Allah's grace and mercy that I'm here today. And I put it down to 4 things, and these are the 4 things that I live by. And inshallah, I'm going to create a t-shirt with this exact words on it. Believe that through faith, family, friendship and love, you can overcome everything in your life. You can overcome everything.
It's so
As
true.
long as you remain steadfast and close to the people who matter, anything is possible.
Yesterday we had the honor of being in a lecture where he spoke about the test is in the sabr. It's in the actual
The time is when it hits you.
It's when it hits you.
Yeah, my wife constantly told me when I was sick, she goes, I envy you because you're handling this like a real man.
Alhamdulillah.
And she goes, and I envy that about you right now. And I was like, I have no choice. And I had made peace with the fact that I could leave.
Yeah.
But I was just happy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was granting me more time to rectify all of my issues and to show my son how much I loved him and how much I cared about being there for him. And today, what do I wish? I just wish that my son grows up to be a beautiful young boy who's humble and pious and caring and loving towards people and not a bad kid. That's what I want. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect everyone's children from the bad.
Ameen.
And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to use me as a tool to inspire the youth, that's my dream. That's my dream, is to inspire the youth. I'm not trying to, what I'm trying to do is survive. But I don't need more than what I have to survive. I just want to I'm not asking for a lavish lifestyle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me everything that I asked for. There's nothing that I asked for that Allah didn't give me. I asked Allah to grant me a world title, He did. I asked Allah to grant me another one, He did. I asked Allah to grant me a beautiful wife, He did. I asked Allah to give me a child, He gave me that child. You know what I mean? I don't beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for wealth. I really don't. I don't get on my knees and say, Ya Rab, grant me wealth. What I say is...
The question is, did you ask Him to heal you?
Yes, I did. I asked Allah to grant me shifat, to be there for my wife and my son many, many times. But what I do ask Allah for is when I ask Allah for money, I say, Ya Rab, give me a consistent amount of money to live my life. That's it. And I don't live beyond my means. I live within my means. I do my best to do the best I can to
And
help
if we
people as
knew
well.
it's the biggest trial and
It
test.
is, subhanAllah.
It's an aman.
May Allah increase you in the dunya and the akhirah.
Ameen.
Allahu Akbar. It's what an amazing challenge you faced, subhanAllah. Just, I love the fact that, subhanAllah, I can see that how many brothers and sisters can resonate with your story and inshallah find strength, especially the brothers that are up high and winning the titles today, and the brothers and sisters as well who are currently fighting cancer and fighting sickness and illness. And may I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal all of them, and inshallah they find solace and also strength through this story. And that is the aim, inshallah, that we can inshallah motivate our brothers and sisters through these amazing stories of hardships, trials, tribulations and successes.
Allahumma ameen.
And inshallah, sometimes we need to see somebody who's done it for us to say, and inshallah, may you be that person.
Yeah,
when they see this, they say, watching this and you talking about that, and they were feeling it, and inshallah, they will say, he did it and I can.
Yeah, I mean.
And that's the power, I think. I truly believe that.
Not only that, also saying, Alhamdulillah, I haven't been tested with this. Ya Allah, you haven't chosen
There's the
me.
other side of the coin, 100%.
Alhamdulillah. Like I said, my wife, she'd always tell me, you're so lucky. Allah's testing you right now. Wow. Allah loves you. That's why He's testing you.
Ameen.
She goes, if Allah wasn't testing you, you should be worried. Allah loves you. He's testing you. But, in closing, what I would like to say is that, with as I said, with faith, family, friendship, and love, everything is possible to overcome. And so put your trust and faith in Allah. Put your faith and trust in a higher power. If you're not Muslim, trust in the book, because the most important thing is to have faith that you can get through anything. And if you have that faith and you have the support network, you can and you will. And if you don't have the support network, find a support network that can help you. In fact, if you're a person who's going through an illness and you need someone to talk to, I'm available. All you need to do is go to Billy Dib on Facebook or on Instagram. Send me a direct message, and I promise you, by Allah, I will get back to you, because I look at every one of my messages, and I will respond, and I will help you in any way that I can.
Allah barik feek. May Allah bless you.
Bless your family.
May Allah bless your family. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
bro.
give you more successes. And mashallah, the ultimate successes is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase the sales of his book, Ya Rab, inshallah. And also make his brand Billyve the pop, inshallah. And we really want to support that, inshallah. And so all our brothers and sisters, please
next
support our brother.
podcast I'll be wearing your top.
I'm trying, brothers and sisters, I'm trying to develop this brand as a source to help me and my family. And you know, I want to make it a worldwide brand. This is not just a brand that's available in Australia, it's available worldwide. It's worldwide shipping. So regardless of whether you live, I don't care if you live in Kenya and you want this jumper or a t-shirt, jump online. Let's make this the best brand in the world, inshallah. Billyve.
Billyve, Ameen. Let's all help our brothers and sisters believe.
Inshallah.
Ameen. Thank you very much. Thank you for being part of the podcast.
Thank you so much.
And Albri, you're a dear brother to us. We have become brothers, and for the past day, alhamdulillah, we've
family,
amazing relationship. May Allah bless you and bless everything you do. And thank you all for listening. We ask all our listeners, inshallah, to make dua for all the brothers and sisters who are sick and who are fighting cancer and fighting any illnesses. And we ask you to, inshallah, support our brother in his
also share, like, subscribe, comment. Inshallah, we'll send those comments to.
Yeah, we'd love to hear some comments about his story. And also, I think it's amazing if our brothers and sisters would comment about their struggles, because wallahi, talking about your struggles, even inshallah on the video on YouTube, inshallah, will help a lot, because we can all familiarize, and I think sharing is an amazing thing. May Allah bless you all. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.